to ask your questions. You can unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can provide your question in the chat, and then I'll read it, and then we'll discuss. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the presentation first. Really enjoyed it. So I have two questions. One is, you said about like documenting your experiences. So can you speak more about like how, if you have any like source that you can share with us as to how we should document our work, like our experience? Second question is, I'm planning on taking the exam, PE exam, in about like 6 months, sometime in February, like next year. What can you tell me about the exam, especially as compared to like the FE exam? Like, why do people fail? If you can just speak a little bit about that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. So you've already taken the FE exam, correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, good. Congrats. So yeah, so the first one is documenting the work experience. So the first place to look for how to document the work experience is published by the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. On their website, they provide examples of how you document it. But for instance, let's say you work on a project, let's say a solar project, right? In the way we write our CV is a bit different from how you write the experience. They don't want you to write something so long. It depends. So they normally will give you a limit of words you can write, typically up to, it's in 2 sections. So you have a place where you put like the summary and then the detail. So you need to mention the project, let's say the location of the project. Maybe it is in Texas, maybe in this county. And then also you would mention the size of the project. You need to give the specific details, those little details. Let's say a 300 megawatt AC solar, and let's say 450 megawatt DC, something like that, located in this county in Texas. And then you give the time when you actually work on the project. This is very important. I have submitted work experience when the council sent it back to me to correct it. So you need to mention, let's say you started in 2023 January, and then you give the duration of when you actually completed the project, or when you were actually on that project, specific details. And then the final thing is to mention the actual thing you did on the project. So if you were the one who designed the protection settings, you need to mention you design protection settings for maybe this kind of relay, maybe a feeder relays. You can mention feeder relays and then mention specific detail, maybe XCL 751. Or you can mention, if you are the one who designed the transformer protection, you can mention it XCL 487E, or the bus bar. You can mention anything, but provide the specific details of what you did on that project. So that is how you write it, specific details. Number 2, you mentioned about the PE exam. As you know, the PE exam is 9-hour period, and it is more rigorous. It is less questions as compared to the FE. FE is 110 questions, and you have 5 hours, 20 minutes to complete it, even though it is 6 hours exam. And then the PE, 9 hours, but you have like 8 hours and 8 hours and 20 minutes or so to finish that exam too. But the PE has 80 questions, and the PE is more detailed, So for me, from my experience, I see the PE to be easier to pass than the FE. And the main reason is that the FE, you need to learn like 17 knowledge areas. So if you have been able to pass the FE, then I see you to be able to pass the PE even easier, because PE, you have only 9 knowledge areas now, 9 knowledge areas. And you just need to learn how to navigate through the handbook. The handbook that will be provided in the exam, you need to go through the handbook in such a way that when you get to the exam, you know where to look for specific things, because you won't be able to search for things in the handbook during the exam. So that's going to slow you down. That is the tip I would give you. The handbook you have right now, try to go through it several times and then identify where to find things, specific things that you think is difficult for you. And then also don't forget about the standards, the National Electrical Code, and then the other standards that you need to know. Most people neglect those ones. And then if you don't get the questions on those, that can lead you to fail. So that is what I would say about your preparation towards the PE, and I wish you all the best. I believe you'll be able to make it.
Thank you.
Okay, another question. Let's see if somebody has a question in the chat. But yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay. Yeah, I'll read this question from Justin. Is there any international significance to having the PE license? So yeah, I would think about, there would definitely be international benefit. And the US, even though the license is in the US, right? Other countries like if you are in Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, if you are in Japan, even if you are in UK or some countries that qualifies under the Washington Accord, you can go through the US process to acquire the license. Now, the key thing is that through the Washington Accord, there are some states currently that you can acquire the PE license, even though you live in UK, right? You are living in UK, you can still get a US license in states, for instance, like they say Nevada. And so if I have a PE license in Nevada, and let's say my company, right? My company is working on a project in Nevada, then you'll be able to provide a PE stamping and the sealing because it's equivalent, right? But if you don't have that, means you need to hire a PE in the US, and that can be expensive to the company. So it helps. It helps in that way. I've ever received a message from a colleague of mine who wants a PE, but they are not in the US, right? They are in a different country, but they want a PE here to provide. So I said, okay, this is my advice to you. You can look for this, and then they can support. So having the license helps. Justin, that's a good question. This question comes from Vincent. For the education portion of getting a PE license, which level of education is required, bachelor's or master's? Okay, good question. So the basic one is if you have a bachelor's degree, you can get the PE license, but you need 4 years of experience. If you have a master's degree, some state would give you 3 years work of experience accumulation. If you have a PhD, some states will allow 2 years work experience. So the more your degree is advanced, some states will give you some soft rules, right? So, but bachelor's is the minimum, 4 years. Okay. Any other question from the audience? These are good questions. Thank you for the asking.
Is the level of experience different in the state you're doing it?
Repeat your question again.
I was asking, is the state you're doing your experience for an engineering training different in each state?
Yes. So each state is different. And so if you wrote the exam, let's say you wrote the exam in New Jersey. For me, I wrote my exam in New Jersey, the first one. And initially, I thought about writing in Illinois. That was in 2021. But some of the states are different. And then I can show you that, but we can even do like a test now. If we have time, I can show you like how the state differs. If you go on the NCEES website, you will notice that some states will allow you to take the exam even without going to the state board. But some states, you have to go to the state board, establish your credentials, clear that thing, make sure that they are satisfied with you before you can write the exam. So it means that if you have taken the exam in New Jersey and New Jersey does not require you to do state evaluation or credential evaluation, maybe the state, and then you move to a different state. I would always prefer you write the PE in the other state, right? Having the same state, get that state license, and then later on, if you want to do a transfer, you want to add a different state, you add it.